Well, hey everyone. Today is absolutely the last day of week 3 of my intentional gains and hopefully some losses, change that I've been making in my carnivore way of eating. The reason for this change was that from October through December, I had sort of slowly put on 13 pounds. It definitely was not coming off. It was, slowly gaining. And so I thought, what changes can I make that are going to help me with this? So the changes that I made were instituting workouts 4 days a week, specifically to lower body days to upper body days, with 3 days of rest, also making sure to increase the reps or the weight every time. And then on the rest days, it's like not like fully rest of like doing nothing. It doesn't mean I'm sitting around, but like on those days, I will either do some flexibility or maybe some yoga with my students at school during PE. Today, for example, we did some calisthenic type of stuff. So we did some jumping jacks together as well as some yoga and other stretching. When I do that, it's about 20 minutes, like I said, with my students. So yeah, just incorporating that. And then with the macros, trying to up that protein. So in looking at my macros, I didn't really lower my fat, but I upped the protein by adding in a can of salmon 5 days a week. So when I was like the days I was teaching, I would bring that for my lunch. And then also the week 1, I added in either a half scoop or a full scoop of the Equip Prime Protein. And that's it. Those are the 2 things I added. I really didn't change my diet any other way, but doing that. So it wasn't like some kind of massive volume of food, like I was just adding insane amounts of food or like doubling my food or anything. The can of salmon is like, I don't know the ounces, but it's like the size of the traditional, just a small can, right, of like tuna, but there's salmon in there. And I'm just like eating that, for my lunch 5 days a week. And then the protein, which in week 2, I actually stopped doing. So yeah, the reason I stopped doing that and then, still nothing changed was that in week 1, I had gained 3 pounds. And then in week 2, I had gained another 3 pounds. So that by the end of week 2, I had gained 6 more pounds on top of the 13 pounds that I had already put on. And needless to say, if you watched my week 2, I was very dejected, deflated, after those results. So trying to do something to tweak up, be more intentional, about what I'm doing to hopefully re-lose the 13 pounds. The very first thing that happened was I gained 6. So yeah, I was very, very disheartened. I got a lot of advice like, other carnivores have gained weight at the beginning, just give it time. I am okay with that. Like basically I gained a total of 19 pounds. If I could know for sure, like you're going to have to gain weight, but then it's just your body healing. Like you screwed up your metabolism really bad with all of the binging and restricting cycles that you did. So yeah, you're going to have to gain weight, but then your body's going to like recalibrate and you'll lose it. Like if I could know that was going to happen, that would be a lot easier. None of us has a crystal ball, however. And so what if that isn't what's happening? Like maybe that's what's happening, but what if it isn't, right? So then there's that thought, like how far and how long and how many pounds am I just going to like keep allowing myself to gain, Other people said maybe it's muscle, maybe it's bone. Not according to my scale. My in-body scale. Well, it's not a real in-body scale, but the one that can tell like your body fat and all of that. Some of the measurements that had been green are now yellow, namely my waist to hip ratio, because where I put on a lot of weight is my hips. So I gained a couple of inches in my hips. Now my waist to hip ratio is out of range. Like it's in the yellow, which I don't like. So in September, that was green. Putting on the 2 inches in my hips, that is now yellow. As well as my body fat percentage went up, according to that scale, up into the yellow range from green. So based on all of that, it's like, well, what can I do? So like I said, I tried what I tried. I gained 6 pounds. I was very, very upset to the point that although I stayed consistent in my actions, and I'll explain in a minute, but I didn't vlog. during week 3. Like, hence this video is just a wrap up video literally on the last day of week 3, because I was just like, I just couldn't do it. But I still continued to do my workout routine. I still continued to up my reps. So at the beginning, for my lower body exercises, which are deadlifts, squats, and lunges. For the squats and lunges, I had started with 9 pounds per hand, 3 sets of 10. I am now up to 12 pounds per hand, and I'm pretty close to 3 sets of 10 within a rep. On the lunges, I am 3 sets of 10. On the squats, I'm within a rep of 3 sets of 10. On the deadlifts, I went from 15 pounds a hand to 18 pounds a hand, and my reps have increased from 3 sets of 10 to like 2 sets of 14 and a set of 15. So it's not going to be long here before I'm adding another 3 pounds per hand on those deadlifts, and I'm able to do 21 pounds per hand. So I'm excited for that. The same thing kind of happened with my upper body. So all of my exercises, I was able to, I already talked about it. I think I upped the weight in week 2, and then in week 3, I upped the reps. So I've been continuing to do that. The hardest one is the bicep curl to the shoulder press. Those shoulder presses, I'm not sure. We're going to see on Sunday. Sunday will be upper body day if I'm able to do that. So I will keep you posted, but I'm doing it. I'm getting it up there, that weight up there, and, it's doable. So yeah, the question that everyone wants me to answer, I'm very sure, is, well, so what's your weight doing this week? Well, I got some advice like decrease your fat. Keep the protein high, but decrease your fat. I got some other advice from Coach Bronson, actually, to check my electrolytes, but he was like, you might need more, you might need less, right? I thought I needed less, so that's the route I tried first. As far as the decreasing the fat, I mean, you guys, if it has to be, it has to be, but I'm not ready to say that that's what it is yet. Here's why. I've already taken out the heavy cream. Like, I used to put heavy cream in my coffee, not a lot, but like a half a tablespoon in every cup of coffee. I took that out. I maybe added extra butter, like in the form of like adding butter to steak, maybe 2 or 3 times in all of that 3 weeks, or either that or a bite butter, but like just 2 or 3 times in the 3-week time frame. The only other extra fat that I added was when I cooked eggs. So maybe a tablespoon of butter when I cooked eggs, or like this morning I made some bacon bits, rendered the fat out, left that fat in the pan, and cooked the eggs in them, just so that the eggs don't stick. And that's it. I feel like I've already sort of reduced my fat. The only way to reduce the fat further is to get rid of the rest of that butter. Like, occasionally I do put a little extra on the steak. I could stop doing that. And the next thing to go would have to be my ribeyes, you guys. And that just makes me sad. I am also not 100% sure how accurate chronometer is. Everyone says that it is the most accurate because they vet all of the information. However, what I noticed was the following. So I put in lots of ribeyes. I ate lots of ribeyes, about a pound of ribeye each time. And there's a certain, macros for that. But then I got this advice, well, reduce the fat. So I thought, all right, I've got this chuck eye steak that is 2/3 of a pound. So on this particular evening, I'm going to go ahead and eat this chuck eye steak. So it's less meat in general, because it's not a pound, it's 2/3 of a pound, 0.67 to be exact. And additionally, it's chuck eye. It's got to be leaner. Like, I can visually tell by looking at it that it's leaner. When I put in chuck eye steak, and when you put into anything into chronometer, you get a whole list, like a laundry list of like options for that thing, even if it's a whole food, right? So I'm looking through the chuck eye steak options, and there's one that says with visible fat untrimmed, and there's one that says visible fat trimmed to 0 inches. Actually, there's a bunch of them that say visible fat trimmed to 0 inches. I mean, there was maybe a thin amount of fat. I don't know if it was considered 0 inches, whatever. The point is, upon visual inspection, those chuck eye steaks are way leaner than the ribeyes. When I put that in there, I put it both ways, and the macros for that 2/3 of a pound of chuck eye steak was like as much as the full pound of ribeye steak on the fat. And I'm thinking, there is absolutely no way. It's like, it's less meat, whatever. It was crazy to me. And I thought, well, then I wonder how accurate the ribeye is. I wonder how accurate the chuck eye is. I don't know. I ended up putting the 2/3 pound of chuck eye in as a ribeye. Like, I just put it in there as a ribeye because I'm like, I don't know. But it did not sit right with me that this steak I can visually tell is leaner than the ribeyes I've been eating. And the macros are like the same level, but for less meat. It was weird. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. It's a little confusing. Anyway, if I have to do that, I'm going to keep trying, keep going, keep staying consistent. Week 4 starts tomorrow. I don't feel like I'm going to reduce my fat anymore right now. But I will say that I did take the advice of the testing out with the electrolytes. So I dialed back on those this week, and I did lose 2 pounds back off as of this morning. So I don't know if those extra electrolytes, I mean, if that's what it was, if that's what it was, then maybe I was just holding on to some extra water. Maybe that's why my waist was starting to kind of feel expanded. I've never felt like my waist was so big in my whole life, except when I was pregnant. That's also another thing that was so disheartening because my waist always feels, small to me. Even if I'm putting on weight and it may go up a little bit, it pretty much stays small. But it was feeling like all round and stuff in the front. And I just did not like that feeling. Because I'm pear-shaped and my weight will just go like straight on my hips. I never feel like I'm gaining weight here. And I was feeling like I was gaining weight here. So yeah, that was part of it. Anyways, so as of this morning, I took 2 pounds back off. I'm going to continue on with week 4. Like I said, for week 3, I didn't vlog each day because I was just so upset after week 2. Rest assured, I did keep going with my exercise. I kind of let you know what I've already done in terms of my, the extra fats, gotten rid of most of those. So we're just going to keep going in week 4. I'm going to try to be diligent about pulling out that camera and vlogging. I'm feeling, a little bit better, just because my waist doesn't feel so bloated, right? So that's good. And I'm going to keep going, and we're going to see what happens at the end of week 4. Then at that point, it'll be like a month, that I've been giving this a good try. So, stay tuned. We're going to see what's going to happen. I hope that I lose another 2 pounds this week, get the rest of this, whatever this is, off so I can, get back at it, feel good about it. I hope that my body is just healing and trying to regulate, and eventually this extra weight's going to come off. I would like to lose about 10 pounds from where I am right now. That's kind of where I feel good. I have a very small frame. I don't know if you can see, very small. My wrists are tiny. Everything is my shoulders, the width here is small. I'm small. My frame is small. So that's kind of my goal and what I would hope would happen. I'm not super hung up on it, that particular number. But I just want to feel good in my own skin. And it has not felt good to just be slowly putting on this weight, because we're not talking fluctuating up and down. We're talking like a steady incline, right? That has not been a good feeling. So yeah, my goal is to stop that, hopefully go back down to where I was 3 months ago and kind of stay there. So I guess my plan is to move forward with week 4. I will plan on vlogging more throughout week 4, but also to reevaluate at the end of week 4 and see if I feel like I need to tweak my fat lower, if that makes sense. In which case I'll have to buy some different steak. So sad, you guys. So sad. Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of what's going on with me this week. I'm feeling a little bit better about things, but it's still, I'm not real sure where this is going. I hope it's going to make it, for an overall improvement. I will let you know how it goes tomorrow. Tomorrow is leg day. So it's time for me to go and meet some wellness. 1 week in which I did not gain 3 pounds at a time. Bye, everybody.